Hi everyone, my name is Kurt Brown and I'm a technology librarian at the Charleston County Public Library. In this video, we're going to be going over JavaScript. This is the 6th of 8 web development videos. As you can see, there's a lot we're going to be going over in this video. We're going to be learning about what JavaScript is. We're going to be using the console. We're going to learn how to create a variable. We're going to learn about rules, arithmetic operators, data types, calculations, and how to make comments. So what is JavaScript? So JavaScript is the programming language for the web. It updates and changes HTML and CSS, calculates, manipulates, and validates data. And I said before in the HTML video that JavaScript is the behavior of the web page. All right, and a programming language allows us to give instructions to a computer in a language that the computer understands. And each programming language has its own syntax and rules. And there are many programming languages out there. So for example, you may have heard of C++ or Java, Ruby, or maybe even Python. So let's get started in JavaScript. So I'm going to leave the slideshow and we're going to go into Google Chrome. So I'm on Google Chrome on a Windows computer, and I want to go into the console. So to go into the console, we're going to hold Control, Shift, and J. Okay, so as you can see here, we are now in the console. Okay, what I'm going to do is see if I can stretch this out just a little bit. Okay. Let's try this. Okay, so there we go. All right, so this is our console. And a console is an object which provides access to the browser debugging console. Okay, so this is what we're going to be working in for this video. And we're going to start with variables. So a variable is used to store data. So when we're declaring a variable, we're going to use a keyword, so var, all right, followed by the name you want to call the variable. And then we use an equal symbol to assign a value to the variable. So let's say I want to call my variable animal. Okay, so animal, and I want to give it a value of, I'm going to use quotation marks, cats. Okay, and one more thing in JavaScript, we need to use a semicolon. Okay, so now, I just want to show you something. So I'm going to use another keyword called alert. So alert animal. Okay, so I have a variable named animal and I assigned it cats. Okay, so animal is equal to cats. So alert animal, okay, we should see cats. So I'm going to press enter. I'll come back. And as you can see here, it says cats. So we got an alert pop-up on our page that says cats, okay? So it gave us the value of animal, okay? So also what you can do, I can change, if I wanted to, I can change the variable animal and assign it something else. So I can do dogs, okay? And semicolon, right? All right. Oops, I forgot to press OK. Oops, I pressed enter so many times. There's so many variable animal equal dogs, but that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is do alert animal. And now we changed it to dogs. Okay, so I'm going to press enter. And let's see what the pop-up says. Okay, so now it says dogs. And let's click OK this time. All right, and again, like I said, JavaScript is behavior. And we were able to use the alert keyword to have a pop-up. Okay, so if we have a pop-up of our variable, it says dogs. Okay, so let's click OK. Let's come back. All right, so now I've already talked a little bit about the syntax rules. So JavaScript is case sensitive. So we use lowercase. So this alert with a lowercase a works. This, okay, does not. All right, so we'll get an error. Okay. Each statement ends in a semicolon. Okay. So JavaScript is also not sensitive to white space and line breaks, and the statements are run from top to bottom. Okay. So here we first assigned animal to cats. All right. And what we did after, we had a pop-up and we changed it to dogs. So it reads from top down. Okay. So it was cats first and then we changed it to dogs. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is clear the console. I want to talk about our next topic, which is operators. So JavaScript has many types of operators. The most known operators in JavaScript are the arithmetic operators, and I'm going to show you some. So we can use JavaScript to add. So I'm going to come here. So for example, I could do 15 plus 15. And as you can see, I press enter, it gives us 30. Okay, I can subtract as well. So 15 minus 15. Okay. We can multiply. Okay. And we can also divide. Okay. Now, you may not have seen this next operation before, and this is a percent. Okay. So in JavaScript, this is called modulo, and this returns the remainder after dividing two numbers. Okay. So 15 divided by 15 is 1, but there's no remainder. So that's why we get 0. So 15, some people say mod. So 15 mod 15, we get 0 because 0 is the remainder of when we divide 15 by 15. Okay. So those are operators. All right. And now let's move on to data types. Okay. So JavaScript variables can hold many data types. Okay. So there's numbers, strings, and more. All right. So what we see here is one data type is called number. Okay, so JavaScript only has one type of number. Okay, they can be written with or without decimals. Okay, so we've been doing the 15 a lot. We can also do this. Okay, so that's a number. Strings are data types that store words or characters. And you saw this earlier. So when we did our variable animal, quotation marks, and I'll just say horse this time. Okay, this here is called a string. Okay, all right, so remember, so strings are data types that store words or characters and characters. So to define a string, the words and characters need to be wrapped in single or double quotes. So I've been using double quotes this whole time, but I can also use single quotes. Okay. And another data type is called a Boolean. All right. And a Boolean represents one of two values, true or false. Okay. So for example, if I type in 50 greater than 30, true, right? So 50 is greater than 30, it returns true. All right. The other value of a Boolean is false. So if I do 50 less than 30, okay, we get false. Okay, so that's a Boolean. All right. And another type of data type is undefined. Okay, so undefined is given to a variable that has been declared, but not yet assigned a value. Okay. All right, so I'm going to clear the console again. And now let's talk about calculations. Okay, so operations will be done in the order of parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, then subtraction. This is also known as PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. All right. So, for example, if I do 3 plus 6 times 2. So it goes in, so we do parentheses first, then exponents, then multiplication, then division, then addition, then subtraction, and it goes from left to right, okay? So as you can see here, we get 15. But why do we get 15? Okay, so we get 15 because BEM, okay, so there's no parentheses, there's no exponents. Next is M, multiplication. So we have to do this first. We have to do 6 times 2 first. Okay, 6 times 2 is 12. All right, and then now we do the 3 plus 12, and that's why we get 15. Okay, so what happens if we do this? If I put the 3 plus 6 in parentheses, then I have multiplied by 2. Okay, we don't get the same answer. We get 18. Okay, but why do we get 18? Okay, so again, order of operations, P, parentheses. So we have to do this first. We have to do what's in parentheses first. So the 3 plus 6, okay, so that's 9. All right, and then next, we'll do the 9 times the 2. So 9 times 2 is 18. Okay, so if you're going to do operations in JavaScript, just be real careful, okay? So remember, PEMDAS, and I'm sure you learned this in a math class, okay? All right, and so the last thing we're going to do is learn how to use comments, okay? So comments are pretty simple in JavaScript. If you're going to do a single line comment, you just need these 2 backslashes here, okay? So for example, if I go back and do my operation, okay? It's returning undefined. This is a comment, okay? And if you had multiple lines that you wanted to comment, we'll use this. So we'll do \*, and then your code. I was going to put content, but I'll just put code, and then star, and then the \\, okay? So this is for a multi-line. So I'll do this. Oops. Multi-line code. Okay? So this is multi-line code. Okay? And a single line, of course, so 2 backslashes. Okay? So there you have it. So this was just an introduction to JavaScript. So what we've done so far, we've learned about how, this is the console, so how to use the console, how to create a variable, learned about syntax rules. We learned about operators, so that's the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the modulo. Okay, we learned about data types, all right, and then we did some calculations, and then finally, we did some comments. All right, so in our next video, we're going to get a little more complicated. We're going to learn about the control flow, all right, and then we're going to learn about different types of errors that you may come across. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.